What's up, good people? Welcome back to the channel. We have another interview coming up for you guys. It's not from the PGL Major anymore. We were done with those, but we're back to online interviews, and it's my utmost pleasure to actually welcome not a fellow Bulgarian necessarily, but a fellow Balkan. He's the third one on the channel after Monster and Feed, obviously. We already, by the way, we're re-recording the intro because Mr. TEDD Production actually forgot to set up Vladan's audio, so we couldn't hear him for the first 3 minutes of our initial conversation, but now we're going to be able to hear him. So, introducing Bleed's newly signed fifth in ex-iNation, ex-00Nation, and he's going to tell us a lot about his initial couple teams. Mr. Vladan Radevic, how are you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate the invitation.
I mean,
I'm doing great.
I appreciate you tuning in. To be fair, I'm really interested to talk to you about a lot of things. As I already said, but I'm gonna say it again. I consider the Bulgarian and the Serbian scenes extremely close, and just the mentality of people, the way that they're growing up with CS, and I just find it extremely interesting to talk to a person that is coming out of the Balkan region and now trying to make a name for himself in the international scene. We just had Ime, who's the first Balkan ever to actually win a Counter-Strike major, just do it a couple weeks ago. Hopefully you're gonna get to playing on that stage one day too. But I wanted to pick your brains on something. Obviously, in the Balkans especially, it's quite a big thing. You know, a lot of people have grown up with internet cafes, and that's how they got introduced to CS. So let me know how you got to know CS. What was your first encounter with CS like?
The first time I touched the game, it was around 18, 17 years ago. Like it was a long, long time ago. My uncle introduced me and my brother. He brought us to LAN Cafe, and we played there. I was playing like 2 or 3 hours, and when it was time to go, I was I don't recall it, but I remember they saying that I was crying. I wanted to stay more and play more. So
You were
that's like
crying
the
to play more CS.
yeah. I
Okay.
was literally crying, like my eyes out, just to stay and play more. And that time I didn't, but when I got home, I asked my father to buy a PC for me. He did, and then
Yeah.
I started playing more and more.
How old were you back then, by the way? Do you remember around what age you were when you first went to a LAN
Mhm.
cafe and started playing CS?
I was 6 or 7, I think.
Six or seven.
I was really young at the time. Yeah.
So what? This is like 200. This is at like 2006, 2007, actually, because you
Yeah.
were born in
Yeah.
2000s, right? So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's it's around the time when 1.6 was actually popping off. Was that something that you got introduced to early on? Like, did your uncle, for example, let you know that there's a lot of good Balkan players, a lot of good Serbian players playing professional 1.6 and stuff like that? Did you know that
No. No.
professional
No.
CS existed?
No. I didn't have a single clue. I started playing 1.6. My brother introduced me to it. Like I didn't know there was more versions of it
Sure.
until my brother, and he and I just started playing, and I just uh, started getting better and better. And he,
Okay.
he he saw me getting better, and he got mad. Like, how the fuck are you doing that good when I introduced you to it? You know?
Mm. Yeah, it's kind of like the student overcame the master, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're the little 7, 8 year old, and he's the
Yeah.
grown up
Yeah.
teenager, and you're better than him in the video game. It's impossible for him to comprehend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I wanted to. Okay, so you start playing CS. When did you actually realize that there was professionals though playing in Serbia, a lot of tournaments? Because obviously, if it's, I assume it was the same as it was in Bulgaria, right? Because back then, between the 2000 and the 2010, there was a lot of internet cafe tournaments, right? Where
Yeah.
you just go to. The joke that most Bulgarian players are making is you go to the tournament to another city, which is a smaller one. You win the entire thing, and the prize pool is enough for you to sometimes pay for your travel expenses there and back. So that's pretty
Yeah.
much what you're
Yeah.
playing with. Did you take part in all of that, or were you too young for it?
In Before CS:GO, I didn't even get a chance. I didn't play any tournaments
Okay,
because I was simply like I didn't think, at least I was simply not good enough to play them. I did play in some like teams in 1.6, like when I was I don't know, 12, 13. I was pretending to be a lot older, like I was saying I am at the time I was like 16, 17, just to get picked up by some teams behind, because
okay.
I had a pretty deep voice for like 12-year old, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. So, but I didn't get the chance to play at LAN tournaments, at least in 1.6.
I mean,
I started playing when CS:GO came out.
okay, but now imagine your teammates from back then. Now they see you play professional CS and CS:GO and CS2, and they're like, "You see that guy that's walking up the stage? That fella, that fucker, when he was 12, he lied to me that he was 17 to play on a team with me, and now he's
Yeah.
23 10 years later. How does that work?"
It actually, I got a message like a couple of weeks ago, uh, from like a clan
Mm,
that I used to write in 1.6, that I'm older and stuff like that, because back then I was asking like you didn't get invite, you had to like write to the team themselves like,
mm-hmm.
hey, can I get a trial? I have a Steam. I'm this and this years old, you know.
Sure.
And they actually wrote a couple of days back. They asked, "Do you still want to do the trial?" And I was like, "Nice, nice." Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and then I looked because there were saved messages from before. I wrote to them in 2014.
All right,
So like
2014. So you were
so
14.
10 years later,
Yeah.
they like, I just want to try. Like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and if the information that you gave them back then was truthful, you would have been around 28, 30 now.
Probably. Yeah.
All right. That's actually gold, by the way. Just lying about your age to get picked up on a team because you were too young. Well,
I had to, man.
you
Like,
wouldn't have
who
had
would
to lie.
play? Yeah, who would play like with a 12-year-old? You know, like
Yeah, especially
fucking kid, man.
I guess especially back then, because now with the entire academy hype up, right? It's a little
Yeah.
bit easier for you to get
But
into an
today,
academy
today
program.
is different. Like,
Yeah,
for example, Donkey is 17, man. He turned 17 when he won MVP for Katowice. It's insane. Like,
yeah. No, I get you. And
kids these days are like on steroids. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, there is something. They're growing up with the game. It feels like they're born on 17 with the skill that you get when you're like 22, 23, and you've
Yeah,
been playing
yeah.
your entire life, which is horrendous. What did your family think about? Because obviously your uncle introduced you to CS, but when you started playing a little bit more, like towards the end of 1.6 and trying to play on teams and early CS:GO before you got into professional CS, what did your family think about you spending so much time on the PC and playing CS all day
Of
long?
course, they did like any family. They don't like it. They didn't like it at all. They didn't like it until I signed for iNation because they
Right.
thought it was a waste of time, that I should focus on my schools, my studies, you know.
Sure.
But I knew like that's the important thing for me, but I just went on playing because I really enjoyed the game and I still do. And now I get a chance to make some money out of it, so it's
I
good.
mean,
I like it.
iNation was actually quite recent, right? That was like 2 or 3 years ago. So that's after COVID. So up until before that, you were playing, and as you said, you weren't getting as much support from your family, right?
No, I didn't get like I of course I had support,
Mm.
but of course they were like, you need to finish school, then you can focus
Okay.
on that
Yeah.
100%. But before COVID, uh, I did play.
Hmm.
I played with Feed. He was my IGL back then. I played with Kindo,
Okay.
and I played with some other people. I played with Dragon as well.
That was on Unlucky, right? Or even before that.
Even
All right.
before I
Okay.
think we were called something like expensive. Uh,
Because there's
Dream. I don't know. I can't remember.
QSKE Gaming
Kuske,
is
yeah.
yeah.
That's not that lineup. It's some other
Okay.
lineup.
All
It's some
right.
other lineup
Sure.
that I played just before iNation, I think.
Okay, and was that your first, like, that lineup that you're talking about with Feed and Kindle? Was that like your first more serious project
Yeah,
into
yeah,
trying to play
yeah.
Counter Strike? And how did you find it initially?
Uh, Feed is from my town,
Mm.
and I think we met on a couple of lands, and we talked. We were like, okay, well, let's play some faces together, and just got invited, me and my friend that is from the same town. I don't know if you know him, Kalu.
Uh,
Probably not. Yeah, he
if you tell me the
played KK.
nickname, I could.
That's his nickname,
Oh,
Kalu.
Kalu.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't remember. Sorry.
I played with him in my first team, like with
Okay.
Feed, Kindo, and Dragon.
All right.
But he was never serious about it. I mean, he never played serious. He played only with us,
Sure.
but he didn't focus. That was not his priority, like mine.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we played for like a year or two before I started playing for. Do you remember For Glory?
Yes.
Like they had the lineup: Kindo,
AVN was playing on
Collins,
there too.
yeah,
Collins.
yeah,
Yeah.
Shareni,
Yes.
D,
Mm-hmm.
Dimke later. I played for their academy.
Sure.
They signed me for their academy,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was there for like a month before I got, let's say, picked up.
Mm-hmm.
I got approached by Choiv and Digbomb, the
Yeah.
owner at the time of iNation,
Yes.
to make a team. And then we started off playing with, so it was me, Choiv, PTK, Keeper, and Dragon.
Yes.
Dragon was a roper. We played some tournaments. I don't know. We played some regional tournaments, domestic ones. We played a lot of them. We didn't have much success.
Mm-hmm.
Then we finally got invited to, I think it was CCT or something like that. Mm, and then pretty much played there. We played the one best of three against Into the Breach. We lost to one, unfortunately. It was
Mm-hmm.
I remember it because we were boot camping at the time, and it didn't go well, unfortunately. And after that, we had to change some players because it wasn't going well. We were playing for like half a year.
Sure.
We felt some changes were needed, and then we swapped Skipper for. I don't recall if we did two changes with PTK and Skipper. I
Is
think we
that
brought.
that's when you brought up Dragon on the team, right?
Uh, I think Dragon was playing the whole time. Yeah,
Was he?
Dragon was
Okay.
playing the whole time. We brought in after For Glory fell apart.
Mm.
We brought in Kindo,
Yes.
and then we got Depression,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Oh yeah.
that's when our famous run started. When we were 34th in the world, we
Yeah.
qualified to RMR Copenhagen.
Yeah. But before we get into that, by the way, sorry to interrupt you there, but I wanted to pick your brain a little bit because obviously you said that Feed and you're good friends and you're from the same city and you played together on your first team together. How was he back then as a teammate and just the experience of playing with him? I'm sorry for doing that bit of a rewind, but there's a couple more things that I want to ask you about before we
It's
get into
fine.
the
It's fine. It's
iNation
fine.
before we get
Yeah.
into the iNation conversation. Because obviously he's for those of the people that don't know, obviously Feed was a coach for he was an assistant coach for Sprout up until like a couple weeks ago before the organization just ceased operations sadly, and he was a coach for the academy too, and he's been on the rise. He's been working quite a lot. So how did you find him as a teammate back then?
Actually, uh, it was good until it wasn't because we were playing
Right.
in a team and we didn't have like any good results. So he was a bit stubborn, I'd say. Like he had his way of seeing the game, I had mine, and then the like opinions collided a bit. Which I think it led like to splitting up,
Sure.
and we didn't like end the things like on a good note. We had a
Okay.
big argument, and we were not talking to each other for a while, like for
Okay.
maybe a year. Then suddenly, like we crossed paths and we like made up.
Would you say that you're a
So
stubborn person yourself in the way that you want to play the game?
I don't think so. I think like I'm like open-minded person. I like to give opinions as well. Like I
But
like to
were you
express.
like that back then? Because we're talking about years when you were a teenager still, right?
I think I have like the same mentality as I had it before.
Okay.
Maybe right now I want to win more, which leads sometimes to tilting a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I am working on that. I got a lot better on it, on my mentality.
Sure.
But before then, I think I was same as now. Like I like to give my opinion, but if someone is not willing to listen to me, like to because we are a team, we need to like all express our opinions to make it work, like to
Sure.
be on the same page. But if someone is not willing to listen, like being stubborn and like, no, we do it my way, I don't care what you say, then I'm not saying Feed was like that, but he was a bit,
Okay.
stubborn. Then I get defensive. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like I don't care.
Okay. Yeah, sure, sure. So you're not forcing your opinion on people, but then you wanna know that you're gonna be heard, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, of course, you like to be appreciated. You
Okay.
like to
And
be heard
was
always.
that a difficult dynamic early on when you were playing with in those smaller Serbian teams? Again, this is before iNation, because obviously I've had that conversation with a lot of Bulgarian players too, and we've had that. I've had that in a lot of interviews too, where people sometimes just have their really strict way of how they want to see the game and how they want to approach things, and it's not necessarily too easy to communicate and show appreciation, I guess, for the fact that someone might have a different opinion and their opinion might be right. And sometimes, have you had troubles with that? Just growing up in the Serbian scene in general?
I mean, before iNation, I had like one or two teams, and it was with feed. So I pretty much I didn't expose myself because I was like a youngster, new to the game. It was like I'm playing for the first time. I'm playing with people that at the time I thought were better than me
Sure.
and
So
more
you're just
experienced. So
listening a little bit more.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like taking it in.
Okay. Okay. Because this is, I obviously wanted to hear your opinion on this because this is something that I have been discussing with a lot of players, and it's been a hot topic to talk to Bulgarian players about. But it's, I guess, the fact that the Balkans in general as a region have always been really good at producing individuals, really good players, but we've never had proper teams to stick together for a longer period of time and actually make it on the big stage. What's your opinion on that? What do you think that is?
I mean, the only team that I know that's like consistently playing together so long is 500.
Yeah,
I mean, like the core, I think Ships, Denislav,
and Rainmaker.
Rainmaker,
Yeah,
yeah. But the thing I think it's going wrong. I think it's the mentality of players.
sure.
Like I don't think they're focused at succeeding too much. I think they just want to like play and only play. Do not want to put the work in,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is the reason our nation fell apart as well.
Okay.
Because the moment we started losing, the mentality shifted. We were all like, "Why are we losing? Why is this happening?" We were looking for someone to blame, and we didn't put the hours in like necessary to bring back our A game that we showed before qualifying to RMR and stuff like that. So I think the main reason that people are not sticking together is because they don't want to work, and when the results starts going down, they just disband. Like they don't want to play each other anymore. They
Hmm.
started hating each other and stuff like that.
Have you ever had to consciously think about identifying that trait in your character? Do you feel like you have that little bit of like, uh, I don't want to call it ego. It's probably a little bit egocentric way of thinking about things and just being extremely stubborn and not wanting to listen. Have you ever experienced that? And have you ever had to actually think about it and be like, okay, I need to try and reprogram my mind so it doesn't get to that point? Or you've never had issues with that?
I think I did, but I can't remember any examples. Um, but most of my life, I'm a humble guy. I'm not like I'm not gonna play with you because you are level 9, for example. I don't care
Sure.
about that. I just want to play the game.
Mm.
But I've always had like a group of people that I play with, and that's pretty much like who I play with. So I have, for example, 6 or 7 guys from my country that I like to play with,
Mm-hmm.
and that's pretty much like I play Faceit every night with same people. Like you can check my Faceit games. You will
Yeah,
only
you
see
told me
like
you've been stealing
six,
elo from
six.
Cirque recently.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm farming them. Like me and my stake, they can't win like ever.
Who are
So
you
it's
playing
fun.
with? Don't name drop Chef now, by the way, please. Are you playing with Chef?
No, no.
No.
I think he's
Okay.
focused like on casting. I used to play with him, not that much, but I played with him, Juric, and like that I'm not. I'm gonna say old guys, like
Yeah.
old guards. You know,
Yeah.
like the people that played a long time ago.
Yeah.
But mostly who I play with now is Dragon, Kindo, Emmy, Andrix, and there are a couple of more guys like Jazar.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Uh,
Emmy's still a part of the old guard, if you want to put it that way. He's from
yeah,
that
yeah,
generation.
yeah, yeah. He is, but he's still focused. Like he
Yeah.
still wants to succeed. You know, he still wants to play in a team. He has not given up.
Okay.
And I think any team would be like happy to have him, like as an IGL. He's a really smart person and like entertaining as well.
Okay, so I guess now we can get to the business part of things. We can get to iNation and you guys being signed up to that organization. First of all, talk me through the entire like the emotions that you're getting signed by iNation. Because for those people that don't know, iNation is one of the I'd say maybe the most legendary Serbian organization when it comes down to Counter Strike, right? Even though they were
For
away
sure.
for a couple years from CS, but you look at iNation from before, like it's I'm not sure about 1.6, but even early CS:GO, every single big player from coming out of the region, or even people that are analysts and coaches right now. I mean, Kasat played on iNation, who's your coach right now on Bleed. Yanko played on iNation. Nico, Hunter, Nexa, all of those guys played on iNation before. So was it Emmy, as you pointed out, he was a part of
It did.
iNation too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
pretty much everybody that you can think of that's a little bit more experience was actually a part of iNation.
Yeah,
Um,
everyone that's a name from my country is like
yeah, let me to. So
from my nation. Yeah.
how was it? How was it? Just the feeling of being approached by this organization. Was it something special for you? Because I would assume that you were looking up to those guys before that, and you are looking up to them probably even now. But was it something special to you back then?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I was like 19 years old. Actually, no. Fuck, what I was saying. I was 20 at the time,
Sure.
almost turning 21. When I got approached, like to sign to have a contract, it was like a dream came true to me
Mm.
because I'm just a kid playing games for fun. You know, of course I was aiming to play professionally, but I was never thinking like, okay, it's gonna happen someday. Like I was grinding, I was hoping for it, but when you get offered your first contract, you're like, wow, is this really happening? You know?
All right.
And that's the moment when I told my parents that I'm getting signed, I'm gonna get some money from it. They were like, okay, oh shit, he can make some money from it, and then they supported me.
Just
Like,
to squeeze it in, by the way, did you have a plan B if you weren't gonna
I
do CS?
when I signed the contract, I was at the first year of uni.
Okay, what'd you study?
Uh, agriculture,
All
like
right. Okay.
yeah, then agriculture, yeah.
One of the first gamers that hasn't studied IT, by the way.
Nah, nah, nah. I've never had interest in like programming and stuff like that. So
Okay. And I assume you quit uni because of the
yeah, yeah,
contract.
yeah. I
Okay.
decided like, okay, I have my first contract now. I'm gonna grind the shit out of it. So I was and still am 100% focused in making it
Mm.
into CS, like the tier one.
Yeah, and did it feel surreal that you go to Belgrade, you go to the first boot camps, you get the jerseys, some of the as far as I remember, even Nico was there to shoot some content, right? Initially,
Yeah,
when you were
yeah,
signing with your like, how was
yeah.
that? How was that dynamic? Just meeting up with the most successful and like one of the greatest Counter Strike players ever, who is from that same region too.
I mean, as you imagine, it was insane. Like watching the guy, you grow up watching at your like monitor and stuff, little screens,
Yeah.
watching them play. Um, I mean, he was all of our idols. We knew who he is, that he played for iNation, like he was a big name. He still is star player, like stuff. And just seeing him in person, like I was, is this really happening? Like I was fanboying like the shit out of it. It felt amazing, to be honest.
Yeah, and I guess did you feel like there was some kind of national pride to wearing that iNation jersey initially? Because again, because of I'm not gonna repeat itself and list all the names again, but because of all the names that have played for it, and now the organization decides to come back, such a historical organization, and it actually trusts you and Choiv and all of the other guys to build up that team. Did it feel like there was some type of national pride? Did you feel proud of yourself that you're there?
Of course I did, man. I felt like I'm on top of the world, you know. But it had some weight. Like
Mm,
you're okay, you're signing and you're playing for iNation that hosted like a lot of huge names: Yanko, Kasad, Nico, Nexa, Hunter, and a lot of players.
mm,
Like I felt like okay, we need to do something. We need to make our like before guys that played. We need to make them proud, you know.
mm-hmm. Yeah. And what would you say was like for you to be playing initially on that team? It's something that I haven't mentioned to you, but Choiv's a really good friend of mine, and I've known him for many years, and we've had many conversations with him. And I'm not gonna, I I don't want to up you too much and give him away too much, but because initially he used to play with Bulgarians, right? And he played with Bulgarians pretty
Yeah.
recently too. He really loves playing with Bulgarians. But what I remember from him telling me initially when you were on that team together, when you gathered it up, because we were talking a lot back then. I remember him telling me that you're one of the best players that he's played with, and your team, like the iNation that you were able to gather up, was one of the few fully Serbian teams that he was actually really enjoying to be part of. So what was the dynamic within the team? Did you guys feel like it was more like of a family thing, and what was like playing with Choif as an IGL?
I like Troy a lot. I think Troy is a really good person and a really smart one. He really understands the game. He knows how to play it.
Mm,
So it's a bit rough to see him like struggling recently since we quit iNation.
mm.
But it was really fun playing with them, like with all of them. We had so much fun, like in game and outside of the game as well.
Okay.
It was really fun playing there. Like I enjoyed it like a lot until we unfortunately split up. Yeah.
Did you feel like you were already forming yourself as the player that you are today back then? Like your identity as a player, your view through the game. Did you back then, if you compare it to yourself now, obviously now you would say that you're better and more experienced and stuff. But do you feel like back in iNation you already felt like a really good and legitimate player that can go up to a really really high level?
I did. Like at the end of iNation, like before a couple of months before we qualified and stuff like that.
Mm,
I felt I always believed in myself, and that period I was playing really, really, really good.
sure.
I think I was like a 1.25 rating at the time, like
Yeah,
the
which is
past three
not
months.
CS2 rating, by the way. Let's clarify.
No,
CS:GO
it,
was a lot
it was
harder to
CS:GO.
get 1.25.
Uh, I thought that I was ready, and I still think I am ready if I get the chance, like to play at a higher level.
Sure.
And I still think I can get there, and I truly believe I will get there one day,
Mm,
like tier one and stuff like that. Back in iNation, I had good plays, good communication
mm.
and stuff like that. I really enjoyed playing, like because I was feeling so good individually and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought back then I was ready for the big stage.
Okay, and you got your chance to actually play on a bigger stage with iNation, right? You guys qualified for an RMR, which is not to be underestimated, and you played there. Can you talk me through the emotions going at the RMR? Obviously, you unfortunately didn't end up qualifying for the major, and it didn't go your way. You were massive underdogs, to be fair, going into the
Yeah.
tournament. I feel like a lot of people just considered it a success for you to qualify to that event. Did you see it the same way, or going into the tournament, you felt like you were well enough prepared and you were able to output some damage? And just in general, give me your thoughts on having the chance to play your first RMR.
When we qualified, the emotions to all of us was like exploding. We were not even sure what day it was, what time it was, what was happening. We were just, oh my god, we just qualified for RMI. You mean we were the first Serbian team
Yeah.
like to go to the RMR, so we were like hyped as fuck. But when we got there, I think the pressure got to us. Like we didn't play like we knew,
Okay.
we could play. But I also think the teams that we played against were a bit unlucky that we had our chances against Big. The
Mm,
first map that we played, we didn't take it, which I still think we could have won, but we got unlucky in some rounds, some close clutches and stuff like that. But the second and third game against we got second match was G2. That was time was the second in the world, where we just absolutely shat our pants.
mm,
We got like 16-3. We lost it. We choked a couple of rounds and we just couldn't like do anything
yeah.
later. And then the third match against ENCE, let's say for example that we picked Nuke and then we lost 16-0. So we were like,
Oh yeah, I remember that.
what
Yeah.
the fuck just happened? We didn't even get a single round. And on the second map, we lost 16-14. It was a close one.
Mm,
We had the lead for like 13-8, I think. And then we choked again. But we were happy like that we got to play at such a like huge and important tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, it didn't go our way. But it's something that I will remember forever. Like we were the first team like from our country, from our region to qualify. We made history, so it's something to be really proud of,
It's nice
in
to
my
hear that
opinion.
you're taking this one as a winning experience and not
I'm
as a
of course it
disappointing
was
one.
like it was our first like huge LAN event, so we got some experience from playing that, and hopefully in the next time I play it, I do better.
I mean, hopefully, yeah.
Yeah,
I think you will. I think you will. But
I hope so.
you did mention ENCE. Now, after iNation fell apart, it was a surprise, I guess, to some. But then you got picked up by ENCE to actually be a stand-in for the CS Asia Championship, right? One thing that I wanted to ask you about before that was the fact that I think it was right towards the end of iNation and the start of well, your venture with ENCE, not the start, but when you were standing in, there was a lot of positive Twitter posts by a lot of Serbian players and some of the legends that we already mentioned that were saying that they believe that you're actually one of the next big things in coming out of the Serbian region. I'm not gonna name drop right now because I'm not necessarily sure. But I remember there was a lot of noise being made about it. So did you feel like you were getting a lot of support from your region towards that time? Because I really remember. I think it would be funny if it was actually Kassad that tweeted that. But I think it was either Kassad or Yanko or somebody like that, like a guy from the old guard that did say that you are the next big thing. So did you feel like towards that time you were getting a lot of support from your region, from everyone in Serbia?
Uh, Firstly, we all as a nation had like huge support from our
Mm,
region, but after we split up, after I left, I did get a lot of love from the fans and from our region, like not only Serbia but the whole like Adria region.
yeah.
I felt a lot of love. I was so happy with the positive tweets about me, like quoting, "He's the next big thing. He can do a lot of damage if someone good picks him up, and stuff like that."
I mean, I was one of the people to tweet. Yep.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I still do. Uh, it was a rough. I had a little bit of an ego after I split up. I was thinking like, okay,
Sure.
I did good in iNation. I'm surely gonna get picked up soon.
Mm,
And it was like a rough period of time after it. I didn't have a team for like 3 or 4 months. I had some offers, but not in my head that were like truly the ones I would go with.
okay.
Um, it was some offers that like new projects and stuff that I didn't really like. I wanted to join like already a stable team,
Mm,
try to grind there. I didn't want to go from the scratch again,
sure. Sure.
which is a
And
bit egoistical.
I guess then you
One
get the
sec,
call up.
sorry.
Yeah. uh, Well, ladies and gents, we are getting the Urban Balkan interview feeling right now.
Yeah.
This is you know what? You know what? I can cut that off. I'm actually gonna leave it into the interview because this is some great Balkan energy right there. You're just having an interview and then one of your mates just comes in the
Yeah.
background.
That
Yeah.
that that's actually my brother. I even told him,
Okay.
but don't go into my room. I'm doing an interview, and he said okay, and then he just walks in naked.
You know what? We're gonna leave it in because he tried to wave at the camera. He was like, "Hey guys, what's up?" So we're gonna leave it in. But yeah, things don't work out with iNation. But then towards we're already moving in towards the end of 2023, right? When you get the call up for uh
Yeah.
to play with ENCE, play at the CS Asia Championship.
Yeah.
How did that come around?
I don't know. I honestly have no idea. So the thing was, I was just chilling with my mates. I was like, I'm taking a little break because I don't have anything to play with. I don't have any teams to play with. So I'm
Mm,
just taking a little break. And then one morning, I woke up randomly at like 8 a.m. and I checked my Twitter. And there was a message from Maden because Maden is like from Montenegro and we're really good. We're good friends. And we play Face It a lot. So I just like I don't see on my eyes. I'm really tired, and I just check my phone. I see a Twitter notification, and it's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was not nothing. Like, what's up? And he just straight up asked me, "Do you want to like stand in for ENCE and at the Chinese like Cup. I don't
Yeah,
know.
CS Asia Championship. Yeah.
CS Asia Cup, yeah, championship. Sorry. And I'm like, okay, is this real? I'm just like checking my phone, what's happening?
He just
Uh,
texted
uh,
you like, "Yo, what's up? You want to come to
y-
China and play with us?"
yeah, I'm like, what is happening? You know, I don't believe what I'm reading. I'm like
All right.
grabbing my eyes and stuff like that. So basically, the thing was, Dika had some visa issues
Yeah.
with China, and us as Serbians, we don't need visa to go to China.
Mm-hmm.
And I was basically playing like most of his roles, and he was like, "Do you want to come?" And was like, "Yeah, fuck, I want to come.
Mm.
I want to play." And then we started like practicing 2 hours later, and I'm on TeamSpeak with Nerd, Snappy, Maden, Dika was there as well,
Yeah. Yeah.
Stan Pius, and like, okay, this is happening, you know.
Yeah. And how was that like going into the TeamSpeak, starting to practice with those guys before the tournament? How many days of practice did you actually get before the event?
I think we had a week of practice, maybe a week and a half.
Okay,
I
and
I
how was
remember
it for
having
you? Like
two
the
days off.
transition between, you know, because the last IGO you play with, obviously we did say both me and you love Choif, right? And he's a guy that knows the game a lot. But then you go from playing with Choif and everyone on iNation to practicing with Snappy and people that are consistently making finals and sometimes even winning trophies in tier one. Like, well, was there an obvious difference? Was it like you're joining
Yeah,
the
yeah.
room and then you just feel like it's a different energy and a different way that people communicate and do stuff?
I don't want to throw shade on my old teammates, like,
No,
but it
no.
was the day and night difference. Like,
Okay.
it was a huge difference playing with all of the tier one experienced players. It was just amazing. Like,
Mm. And how would you say? How would you say is? I want to pick your brain a little bit more on Snappy, obviously, because your roles on iNation at least, you were considered a big star, right? So you were the lurker guys. You were getting some good roles on CT, maybe anchoring on a lot of bomb sides, but you were getting some freedom, right, to play how you wanted to. Did you feel that same vibe? Did you feel that same dynamic when you went into ENCE? How did they try to integrate you into the game style?
I mean, from the day one that I joined TeamSpeak, like they made me feel welcome. I didn't feel like any pressure ever playing with them. Like I don't want to do. I just played like how I'm used to playing. I didn't like hold back. I was not thinking, okay, I'm not gonna do this because I'm afraid like to do a mistake and someone's gonna talk shit to me. I they all they made me feel like a part of the team, you know. So it was really good playing with all of them.
Okay, and then I guess you traveled to China, which is a little bit surreal. So how was that experience, man? Because you go over to China. We know how crazy Chinese fans are. First of all, right? You feel like you're a rock star probably when
Yeah,
you're up there.
yeah,
We
yeah.
all saw that
I was feeling
Ikentar
like
picture
I'm a
from Chengdu from a couple of days ago, right?
yeah. I was feeling like I'm on top of the world. Like as soon as I landed on their airport, like there were people waiting for me, like with the sign, and there were also like some fans wanted to take pictures. But like, why do you want to take picture with me? I'm like a nobody, you know.
Mm.
But they were all like super friendly. Like Chinese fans are amazing. I remember one day when we were going. I think we were playing quarterfinals against NIP
Yeah,
that day, and we were all like waiting in the shuttle to go and we were just sitting like making jokes, talking, like making fun, and then we just hearing boom, like someone like crashed into our like minivan,
sure.
and we all look outside, and there was a guy, Chinese delivery guy, that saw us, and he got super excited that he ran into our like van. He just crashed into it and fell down, you know, and he was
Really?
yeah, and 5 meters behind him, he was on his motorcycle, and motorcycle was on like laying on the ground, you know.
Oh
So
my
he basically
goodness.
like fuck, and he ran to us, you know. And he started taking pictures like through the glass, and we were
Oh,
like,
so
"What are
he's
you doing?"
he's fallen down from his bike. The bike's in the background.
Yeah, yeah.
Imagine
He just left it on the middle of the street, like to lay
he's
there.
like,
Like
"Hey guys, let's take a selfie."
I want to take a picture, and we're like, "Okay, come in, like let's take a picture." And he comes in, and he holds like, his phone like this. So he's doing this. Wait. So he's doing this, taking a
Yeah.
picture, and his hand is going like this.
Oh my
He's, he,
goodness.
he was shaking. I have never seen anyone like so in love with the game and the players that like those fans are like amazing. And then I
This
think we signed his helmet at the end. like his motorcycle helmet,
Oh,
because
thank
he
God
didn't
he
have
had a
anything.
helmet, by the way. If he crashed, thank God he had a helmet.
He didn't have anything to sign, but he wanted us to sign something to him, and then we just signed his helmet.
Wow.
It was really funny. The experience in China was the one thing I will remember my whole life. Like,
You got to play on the big stage though, right? Too. You
yeah,
mentioned that
yeah.
NAP game. It was actually, I'd say the NAP series was the one that you really popped off in, right? A lot of people were impressed with your performance back then. Uh, what was it just stepping on the big stage for the first time? Because it was arena matches too. Did you feel any pressure comparing to the RMR, let's say?
Um, at the start of like the group stages, for example, when we won Tailu like comfortably, so I'm not gonna like talk about it.
Mm,
But when we played Astralis, I'd say I had a lot of pressure.
sure.
I don't know if you watched that match, but there was a round where I deleted Madden of the server. Like I
Okay.
team killed him. Like I was so zoned in, like I didn't even hear in my headset what was going on.
Okay.
And then he just appears on my screen. Then I delete him, and we eventually went on to lose that match. We won that map, by the way. So thank
Yeah.
God,
Yeah. You lost to
thank God we
Astralis two
won
and
the.
one, right? That was the group final.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We got destroyed on the first map. We won second, like 13-10, and then we got again destroyed on the ancient third map. So we didn't have a saying in that best of three. Then the quarterfinal match came. We were playing against NIP, and honestly, playing on that stage, I felt like I was playing in my room. I mean, of
Okay.
course, the people were amazing. They were shouting all the time, but I just zoned in, and I was imagining I'm playing in my room. No one is surrounding me, and I just played my game. So
Sure.
I was super happy that I got to help the team like to play and go
Mhm.
through the semifinals and stuff like that. It was amazing to play. Like I think it was like 3 or 4K people just streaming all the time. It was like, okay, like this is happening now. But I didn't feel the pressure once I got on stage.
Okay.
I'm
And
really proud of myself for that.
was it the same when you faced off against FaZe? Because obviously you guys got eliminated in the semifinal when FaZe ended up winning the entire tournament. Let's put it out there that you guys lost 1-2, and one of the maps was a 16-14 that they won, right? So it was a really close matchup. You could have easily actually won that game 2-0.
Yeah.
So how did that feel?
Uh, it was surreal. Like I didn't believe I'm playing against FaZe in semifinals of like a tier one tournament, because my whole life I've been watching demos of Robs and FaZe, you know.
Sure.
So I'm like, okay, I'm playing against them. But it was same like playing against Nip. Like I didn't feel pressure at all. I was confident in what I'm doing, and it showed. I think I showed a pretty good level against them. But yeah, I'm still sad to this day. Like every time I remember it, like sometimes when I lay into my bed to sleep, I remember that we choked 2 maps against them, and we had a really good chance to go to the finals and maybe even win the whole thing. But the just feeling playing against your idols on the big stage is something I will never forget. It was like so unreal.
And did it feel different playing against those guys? Like, did you was it interesting just seeing that they're, well, we're gonna say seeing that they're quote unquote mortals, so to speak? Like you
Yeah.
can you can beat those guys in the server. They make mistakes too. So was that an interesting experience for you, seeing that you can actually be competitive and you can beat them? And was it extremely harder than, let's say, playing in the tier two space when you go on the stage and you
No,
play against
no,
someone
no.
like Rops or Twist or
I'd
whatever?
say I'd say playing against tier one people, like good teams, is much easier than playing in tier two, tier three teams, because tier one teams, they have a lot of structure. They're not gonna do some dumb shit like pushing through the smoke without
Okay.
flashes. They're not gonna go try and catch a random timing that doesn't make sense at all. So you feel confident in what you're doing because you kind of know and know what to expect from teams like that, instead of playing at tier 2 3 and tier 3 teams, because you never know what they're gonna do. They're so
Yeah.
unpredictable, and then you have to be on your heels like the whole time and expect every fucking thing, and that's so annoying.
Mm. Yeah.
That's so annoying to play against.
Yeah, it makes more sense, I guess, in tier one, because I've asked that question to a lot of people, and the answer that I'm getting from most players is exactly that, right? That tier one is just a little bit easier. Like even if you die, even if you lose a game, you just know why. You know what they did, and you know
Yeah,
that they just did a good job. But what they're doing makes sense. It's not like they did something really awkward, and that's why you ended up losing.
yeah.
I wanted to emphasize a little bit on that. Now we're gonna tell me, was it really was there really a conversation about you potentially staying with the team, or was it clear from the very beginning that it's just because of his visa issues? And do you feel like maybe the fact that you were standing in only for that one tournament made it easier for you not to have big pressure going into the stage, because you know that people probably didn't expect too much of the team?
I mean, the agreement was to stand in. I didn't have expectations. We didn't even talk about me staying with them after the tournament. But I just wanted to like, because the fact was, when I went to stand in with them, I didn't have a team, and I had a bit of pressure because I knew that I needed like to perform good to be seen
Okay.
by other teams, or other top teams,
Mm.
to eventually get picked up. But playing with them, I didn't have like that pressure that if I don't perform, I'm just gonna, do, they're gonna talk shit to me, or they're gonna, I don't know. I just didn't have that kind of pressure. I need to perform to stay.
Okay. Yeah, you were calmer, I guess.
Yeah.
Then that event ends. Then there was a bit of a pause, and towards the start of the year. Now, I wanted to ask you about that because obviously you were a part of Bleed is not your first international team, like proper team. We're not talking about stand-in. You were a part of Zero Nation, but that was one of the most awkward things that I've seen recently, because you joined the team, and then give or take like a week or 2 weeks later, the team just disbanded out of nowhere, and it was not looking like a bad lineup. I mean, you have Fasher, you have JDC, you have Bert from Sky, you have Searson, who's an extremely skilled and experienced guy. So what happened there? Because when I saw the lineup initially, I thought that lineup actually looked pretty solid.
I had that feeling as well. I had a feeling we can do a lot. Unfortunately, we didn't have time. I joined the team like in late December, like mid-December,
Mm.
mid to late December. And then we were practicing. We were doing good on practice, in my opinion. So for a team that's like been a week together, uh, but I think the organization just wanted us. That they signed us only because they wanted to get that sticker money.
Mm.
That's my honest opinion, because
Sure.
they signed us just before RMR, and then when we bombed out, we didn't qualify. Unfortunately, we were close, but we choked a lot. And when we didn't qualify, it was just one day we were chilling. It was a free day, and then I just got called by Pita to join TeamSpeak. Actually, not TeamSpeak, but Discord. Me, Pita, and Fabian. Fabian is like was a psychologist in that team,
Okay.
but I think he does a lot more there. Um, and they just say, hey, Zero Zero Nation decided to invest somewhere else, and they're closing their CS division. And I'm like, what the fuck, like
Yeah.
we are together for a month, and they just decide to back off. So I was like,
Yeah. So it was a
I don't know
purely
what's happening.
organizational thing. Like, did you feel like
Yeah,
the dynamic that you had with the other players on the team was good?
I think it was. I honestly think we had like a good friendship, even though we were not that long together.
Mm.
But I'm just sad that we didn't get more time to like do some stuff. But
Mm.
I was pretty confident that we can do some things, like if we just stay together.
Was
But
there a specific
unfortunately, it
player
didn't.
that surprised you really well? Like that you join in the server, you play a couple games, and you're like, oh shit, this guy is really good, or what he's doing here is just insane. Was there a certain guy that you just felt like you had a really good dynamic and was really good?
Uh, I think I was best. Like, I mean, the relationship, the best guy that I had with was John JDC.
Okay.
But the guy that surprised me the most, I'm not gonna say surprised, because I didn't know much about him. Fasher.
Okay.
I knew he was playing with Fnatic,
Mm-hmm.
OG. Of course, I knew he was skilled a lot, but when you read comments on HLTV all the time, like this guy is a bot, this guy can't shoot for shit, you develop some kind of like,
Subconscious opinion.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, subconscious opinion. But when we played together, I felt, okay, this guy is really good. What the fuck are people talking about? Like, Fasher
Mm.
is genuinely good. Like, he has good comms, he has good aim, he understands the game, he can play really well. Um, and the Bird from Sky, he was actually he's a really good, nice guy. He's a really
Mm.
good guy. He knows a lot about the game as well. And yeah, unfortunately, it didn't work out.
Yeah,
Like,
I've actually had Bert from Sky for an interview on that channel.
yeah,
It was before 00 Nation. I think they were still on the Copenhagen Flames when we had that interview. One thing that he told me, we're gonna try and call him out here. So he did tell me back then that he really likes inventing his own meta and approach
yeah,
to certain things. And he's really unique. Did you feel that when you were playing on the same team?
yeah. He has his own kind of thinking of the game. So I remember when in iNation I played against him a couple of times,
Mm.
and I remember they were like inventing some like uh, throw nades here, throw nades there, then go here, then go back and go other ways. He was always creating his own stuff, which I really liked because he was not following the meta that was played. He
Sure.
wanted to play something of his own, and I really liked that. I really enjoyed playing there.
Okay. Then he wasn't over exaggerating about it. Then this is how it feels when you're on a team with him too. Because
No.
I really think that
Yeah.
he's a really smart guy as well.
Yeah, he really is. He really is. He
Okay,
understands the game a lot.
so we go
Hopefully,
to
he gets picked soon by some
hopefully.
team.
I mean, there was I still remember there was obviously it was just Reddit and HOTV stuff. I don't really read forums too much, but I got that sent to me. It was someone was creating a case for him, but like a proper document for him that he needs to be the next Astralis IGL, which was a funny thing to read, I guess. With that being said, though, things don't work out with 00 Nation, and what are your thoughts after that? So you told me that obviously you were in a bit of a tough spot after iNation before you get picked up by ENCE. Then you get picked up by ENCE and you feel like you can actually advertise yourself and show yourself off to the world a little bit more. That happens. People are really happy with your performance. You go to 00 Nation, but things don't work out there after just 1 month. So you must have felt a little bit disappointed. Was it? What was going through your head in that moment when your first what was supposed to be your first proper successful international team just falls apart for reasons that have nothing to do with your guys' performance in the server, actually? Well, technically they do because you didn't qualify for the major, but on paper, after being together for 1 month, it just doesn't feel really like it was your fault, does it?
I mean, the situation after, like, right after, maybe a couple days, like after we were told the news that we are not playing together anymore, I felt kind of down. But I was like, okay, this is not gonna stop me because I knew I trusted in myself more than ever that
Mm,
I can showcase what I can do,
sure.
that I can play really good and I deserve to be like at the top tier level. So I was like, because I had more offers than ever at that time, even before I signed with 00 Nation.
Oh, sure.
I had some offer that I really liked.
Mm.
So I was not. I was thinking, okay, this is just another setback.
Any you
I'm
can
gonna
give us
come.
a sneak peek to, or you'd rather not?
I was playing with Tikla at the
Okay,
start,
sure.
but I felt like, unfortunately, they disbanded. They ceased operation again. So I see a kind of a pattern here. I play in 00. I play in iNation. They disband. I played in
I don't think
00
Kasad.
Nation.
I know what you're gonna say. I don't think Kasad is gonna be happy with the point that you're gonna make right now. I don't
No,
think Bleed has been around for too short of a time, man. They're not disbanding. I hope that. I hope not.
I hope so. I hope so too, man.
The Vladan factor.
I talked about. I was making jokes with them about it. They were
Yeah.
laughing, so I think it's fine. Like,
Okay.
let me continue. I played in iNation. They disbanded. I played in 00 Nation. They disbanded. I played with Ikla. They ceased operations. I was actually in talks with Sprout back then.
And now
Like,
they don't exist anymore.
I was in talks with Sprout before I signed with Bleed.
Okay.
I think Assad mentioned that on somewhere on
Mm.
some of his podcasts that
Yeah.
I was trialing with them. I didn't get to trial, but I was supposed to trial. Just like, imagine I signed with them with Sprout and
And they
they
cease
fucking ceased
operation.
operations.
Yeah.
I would be so fucking pissed, man.
I'm trying to think of
Hopefully,
another time that's happened to a player. I don't think that happened so many times to a single player in the world.
I actually can't remember a single one that like joined somewhere and then like ceased operation like shortly after. So I hope and I pray to God it doesn't help. It doesn't it's the
Happen.
case with Bleed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's I guess this is funny. Well, hopefully, Bleed works out, right, and
Yeah.
it stays around for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But how did you get approached by Bleed? Was it like a more regional thing? Like obviously, Kasad's the coach, and you're both Serbian. Did you know him from before that? Were you already in a, let's say, good, I guess, friend-ish relationship, and that's why you feel like he trusted you, or was it just purely because he thought you were a good fit for the
Um,
team?
I met Kasad like a couple of years ago, like on some birthday of a friend.
Mm,
So we knew each other, but we were not like in some relationship that we talk to each other, that we like exchange
yeah.
opinions and stuff like that. But he always praised me. Like even when I was in a nation on at the start of this podcast, you said like some big names were praising me after I left iNation. In fact, it was Cassad.
Okay, so I remember correctly because I
Yeah,
remember the tweet, I think, but I wasn't necessarily sure if it was him.
yeah.
Okay.
He firstly approached me like at mid December before this. After actually, it was after I signed with Zero Zero Nation when he was creating Bleed. But
Okay.
unfortunately, I signed already with Zero Zero Nation. And then when I departed Zero Zero Nation, they had some problems with. They failed to qualify to RMR as well. They were having a rough period,
Mm.
and they decided to bench Cypher.
Yeah.
And then he approached me again. He was saying, hypothetically, if I ask you to come to like trial because we are looking to make changes, would you be down to like come and trial with us? Maybe you wouldn't get like all your roles and stuff like that. I was just fine. I wanted to play. Like I
Yeah.
knew
Sure.
who the players on the team was. I had high opinions of them, and I was like, sure, I want to come. Then I came to trial. We had like a first game against Mouse NXT, which we lost, uh, which I think was a rough period. I was not sure if I wanted to stay with the team. And then after we lost, instantly after we lost, uh, we had a team talk where they said, okay, Lau, you're benched. We're bringing back Cypher, Kai. And then we started practicing with Kai, and the atmosphere was really, really good.
Sure.
Like, and we started winning and winning and winning. And then we were on a streak from like 11 best of threes. I'm counting the first one against Mouse with Lau. And now out of 11 best of threes, we won 10.
Yeah.
And the team was super, super good.
And you
And I was
qualified for
like,
the Res Grand Final, right? It
yeah,
was
yeah,
actually
yeah.
the only other best of three of significance that you lost was the final against Fnatic, but you beat, for
Yeah,
example,
so
you
out of
destroyed
12 best
Bedroom.
of threes, yeah, out of 12 best of threes, we
Yeah.
won 10.
Yeah.
And the team was like hyped. We were all, like really playing good and stuff. We still are.
Mm.
We have our ups and downs, but we are still good.
Yeah.
We perform and win. And I'm like, okay, team feels really good. I want to stay.
All right.
I want to play here. And then the rest is history. I signed like last weekend or something like that.
Oh, so it was so it wasn't you wanting to sign all that entire time and the organization just giving you a trial. It was kind of like both parties being like, okay, let's give it a little bit of time to see how we feel about it.
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much that was the thing.
All right. And did you feel
But
like
I'm happy. I'm happy with my decision. I like it
okay.
here. The atmosphere is really good.
Mm,
The boys are amazing. We're having fun inside and outside of the game as well. I'm
mm.
really looking forward to boot camping with them.
Okay, okay. Yeah, they were boot camping at the start of the year, right?
Yeah,
In
for
Serbia.
NMR, yeah,
Yeah, for the
in
RMRs,
Belgrade.
which you weren't a part of. I was actually able to catch up with some of them back then. It was really fun. Uh I wanted to ask you about a little bit more about Kasat, obviously, because I guess the transparency that he's been given about the team, I think, has been a really good thing. I think it helps people to understand what's going on inside of the team, and that might be a little bit of a tricky question. But do you sometimes feel like the transparency that's been given about the team puts some more pressure on you guys, or you don't really think about it in that way and you're completely fine with it?
I mean, so far as I'm within the team, there was no like tweets from Kassad like that. Thank God. So it means we're doing good. But I don't really care. Like when I saw on Twitter when they lost to no, they didn't lose to, but they won
They lost the
against
map to
Passion UA.
Passion UA when
Yeah,
Zinchenko was
when
playing. Yeah,
Zinchenko was playing
yeah,
and Casa Twint and Treasure are coming. I was fine with it. Like this is business. So
sure.
I mean,
Okay.
of course, everyone understands if you do not perform, you're gonna get sidelined. You need
Yeah.
to perform to like play.
So
It's
you
pretty
would
much
say that your
like in
policy.
every sport. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that that's a good policy. Yeah,
You would say that your policy is pretty similar to the one of Kassad then.
pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, and did you? Because like obviously you're getting integrated into an international team. Uh, did you feel like his presence there made it a little bit easier for you to get accustomed to everything? Obviously, having someone from the same country as you and someone that, as we said, has supported your career and thinks that you're a good player and has shown his support publicly and probably privately beforehand, probably helps with adapting, I guess.
Yeah, it sure does. Like it feels nice to have someone like from your own country, from your own region. Like being there, it helps a lot for sure.
Mm, mm. Okay, and what do you think? This is the last one for him, but I guess it's just really interesting for me because I'm for whatever reason I've always believed that even when he was a broadcast talent, I've always believed that he actually knows what he's talking about when it comes down to CS, right? Do you feel like do you feel like he still has that really in-depth opinion and capability of putting himself in the shoes of the players? Because obviously he was a player back then, and for a lot of people this is a discussion that when you've been a player and you become a coach or an analyst or whatever, it's a lot easier for you because you can be a little bit more sympathetic towards what the people were thinking when they're on a team. Do you feel like that with him? Do you feel like you're getting a good opinion, good support? Do you feel like he's able to actually put himself in your position?
Yeah, I sure do. Like he has a lot of smart inputs. He knows about the game. Obviously, he knows a lot. So it's super fun to learn from him
Mm,
and like to have him around.
all
It
right.
sure does help a lot, and I think I'm gonna only get a lot better with him.
All right, all right. That's good to hear. That is good to hear. And one of the final things that I wanted to ask you about, obviously, we're talking bleed right now, and it's been I guess it's been a fun run, as you pointed out. You've been having some good results since you signed up with him. But I wanted to ask you about something that you mentioned briefly, and that's the roles. Because if you compare it to previous teams that you've played on, Bleed has a lot of riflers that require more space, right? You're looking at people like Cypher, like Hampus, even though he's an IGO, he's still a guy that requires a lot more space to operate. And you've had to switch maybe a little bit. You're a little bit more supportive now. Whereas if you compare it to eNation days, I guess you were the big star of the team, right? You were getting a lot of freedom. You were getting a lot of people just playing so that around you in a way so that you get more freedom and you get to play your game. Do you find it challenging to sometimes play on a team where you're not being given that much freedom to do whatever you want?
I mean, for sure, is a change. It's a huge change for me,
Mm,
but I think I'm adapting to it really well. I think this change is good. I think it can be really good for me and the team. Of course, in iNation, I had a lot of freedom. I always like, I'm gonna do this. Okay, I'm gonna go there. Okay, I'm gonna lurk. It's fine. Here I am more of supportive player, which is fine for me. I am by nature like more passive, so it's kind of good for me. Uh, but yeah, I'm more of supportive player, so I just do what my team needs. I will always be doing that. So
okay. And what would you say is the dynamic? Obviously, you said that you guys have a really good atmosphere, but one thing that I've always been really interested is what is the feeling of playing with an IGL like Hampus? Because he's not necessarily the traditional IGL guy that's just going to be really calm, really chill. I'm gonna take all the anchor roles. I'm gonna drop you guns. I'm gonna drop you nades, guys. You go there. I'm just giving you ideas and stuff. He's the guy that wants to run in first. He's
yeah,
the guy that wants to take the space and wants to get into the fight. So how is
he,
it?
he,
How
he
does it
likes
feel
the
playing
action.
with him?
It feels amazing. I mean, he's a really cool guy, and he's really skillful. So I don't mind like dropping him every time if he wants to do a play or something, because I know I have the confidence
Mm,
that he's gonna do something with. He's gonna get a multi kill. He's gonna win us rounds. He's gonna set up for something more.
mm.
So yeah, he's a really good guy. He's really aggressive. I like that. I like that.
You feel like that gives you actually a nice
He likes
balance.
the actual. Yeah.
Because you have Hampus and Cypher that are really wild at times, and then you have yourself in Faven that I guess are a bit more passive as
Yeah,
riflers.
it's a really good like balance to it.
Okay.
That you don't have like too much aggressive players, you don't have like too much passive players. I think it's like as it should be.
Okay, good balance. And the final piece, because we did mention the rifles, the final piece, and there's no way I don't ask you about this, is Zerk, who's
Vettelin.
yeah, Mr. Tsetsi, as we
That's
call him. Yeah. So Zerk has been a really interesting talking point, I guess, for a lot of people, because uh, most people would just open HLTV, they would just click on the rating, and they would be like, okay, he's an oper, the rating's not really that high, so he needs to perform better, and he's been getting a lot of criticism because of that, right? But then Kassad goes in an interview and says that a lot of the impact that Zerk actually has for the team is not something that the audience can see, because he's really good with support, he's really good with communication, he's really good for the team mood and stuff like that. So talk me through about it. How do you feel about Zerk? Because he's on paper, like, you have people like Hampus, you have people like Fabian on the team. Zerk is actually the most successful one out of everyone, right? He's the only one that's been a top 20. He's the only one that's played he's played a major semifinal. He's played a couple majors. He's won a
He
couple
was
tier 1
top one, by
trophies.
the way.
Yeah, he was top 1 with
He
EG
was
in the
top
world
one.
too, right?
Yep.
I mean, top 20 as in individually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, yeah. That's true. Uh, Cirque, as you said, like people that are shit talking about stats have no fucking idea how the game is being played. Like stats don't matter at all. I mean, it's always nice when you open HLTV and the guy is like impact 1.5, rating past 3 months is 1.3, like donk.
Mm.
But it's not about that. Like he really knows how to set you up to get a kill, to get a multi kill. He's more of a supportive opera. Of course, he doesn't do like flashy plays or which people like to see, but he has really good fundamentals. He really knows how to play the op, how to support people, which is the thing that really matters the most. Like I don't need an opera that's, I mean, it's nice to have an opera like Monacy that's gonna get you like 40 kills every game,
Mm.
but it's not all about that. Like it doesn't it doesn't matter how many you kill. It's how you play with a team, the atmosphere he makes, how he makes the team work. It's amazing. Like I like him a lot.
Okay. So what I'm getting here is that you're extremely happy with the mixture
Yeah,
that you have, the people that you're surrounded by, and
I'm happy with everyone. Like
this is really nice to hear. It is really nice
yeah,
to hear, because I do feel that level of you being just genuine about it, and just being really, because I, I haven't done too many interviews, not as many as, people like, let's say, Thorin or whatever, not even close, but I have done interviews, and you rarely get that level of sincerity or sincereness when you're asking a player about his current team, and you just see him say nice things about everybody. Is really nice to hear. So on a final note, you guys have a couple. You're playing a shit ton of officials, to be fair, or you're playing pretty much every single game that is on offer. So, how are you managing it right now? Because obviously you were playing before on, I guess, a bit of a lower level with eNation, but you've never really been. You've never really had the time to be in the grind. You've never really had the time to be, or the chance to be in the mixer of just playing 4 tournaments in the same time and trying to qualify for a lot of different events. So how are you finding it playing as many officials as you are right now? Because this is probably the most intense schedule you've ever had in your career.
I think I'm used to it because there was a schedule in iNation before we went to Copenhagen for
Mm,
RMR, where we played pretty much single every fucking day. We
sure.
had some officials. So I'm kind of used to it. Of course, it's hard, like mentally. It's draining, like you need to be focused 24/7, like not to fuck up when you're playing like two best of threes every day. I think next week we have, on 17th, we have two best of threes coming up.
Yeah. It's no, you have, well, probably unannounced, but on the 17th, I think you're playing Koi for the Thunder pick close
Yeah.
qualifier. That's for
I
sure.
think we have one more match on that date. I'm not
Okay.
really sure. I need to look it up, but it
Okay.
doesn't matter. Like we just need to play our game, try to have fun playing it,
Mm.
and I think it's gonna be good. I think we have the right tools to win them all.
Okay. I mean, it's I guess this is everything that I wanted us to talk about, man. It's been a great interview, and one thing I'm gonna do before I tell you that you can say whatever to people that have been supporting you, I'm asking most of my guests a random, like a really random CS question, and I want to see what they think on the spot. I'm not giving you time to prepare. So if you had to form your dream Balkan team out of only Balkan people, including a coach too, what would it be? You can
Cast
include
coach,
yourself. You can
cast
exclude yourself. It's up
coach,
to you.
cast coach.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say Troy IGL.
sure.
I'm gonna say Collins, like
Yeah,
aggressive. It's Kindo entry.
sure.
Me on lurk and on upper. Fuck, we don't have that many uppers.
You can say,
It's
by the
hard.
way, you can say any country from the Balkans. It's not supposed to be just Serbian. You can say any country pretty much. Any Balkan country.
Oh fuck, I
So
don't know. The upper is tough. Like I
yeah.
can't really remember on the spot. I'd say let's go with fuck. This is hard. Um,
I'm giving
well,
you a couple seconds.
let's go with depression because he
All
got
right.
us into like Armor.
Okay, so we're doing iNation Recreation 2.0 with Kassad being the IG the coach pretty much.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds really nice. And Collins, of course, and Collins. But yeah, thank you a lot for joining me. Anything that you would want to plug? I don't know. I don't think you're streaming, but anything you'd want to plug? Anything you want to say to people that are supporting you?
Thanks for supporting us. I hope you continue to do that. And go bleed.
Go bleed. Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't bleed out in some of the next. I'm sorry. It's just my caster mind right now, just making dad jokes.
It's
It's
fine.
what
It's
it's
fine.
what comes around with the job, man. We just make jokes that no one likes, but we're laughing about it because it's yeah,
You're not the only one, so it's fine.
yeah. No,
A lot of
absolutely.
my friends are making those jokes as well.
Okay, that's good. That's good. That's because I'm
Yeah.
getting old, I guess. Oldest 22-year-old soul you're gonna meet. Okay,
Yeah.
so thank you again for
What am
joining
I
me.
then?
It was a great. Well, you look younger than me. Come on, I'm younger than you, but you look younger than me. I bet.
You for sure look older than me. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm 1 year younger than you, so yeah, you get the dynamic. But yeah, thank you a lot for joining me, Brate. It's been a great conversation, and yeah, hopefully in some time when you guys play a little bit more, you make it to the big stage, you win a couple events, you play a major, you probably win one. We can have another one and catch up in some time. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks for having me, man.
It's been a great one. Thank you everyone for watching. Go and follow Vladan on Twitter. His link is going to be down below. And of course, as he said, go bleed. We're going to be following. We're going to be watching. Hopefully they do well. Stay safe. See you soon.